Right. Waiting for the red button to come. I suppose it should come in. Yes, I think we've started. Okay. Good morning, Venkat Chandra, and welcome to the 2020 match.
Morning, Sunil.
And I think you know the format. You know what you're going to expect. You'll be expecting some surprise questions. This is something which is not planned. Okay, I'm just going to understand and ask questions based on your response.
Sure.
Okay, so whatever you respond, I might just think of a question and maybe ask you a question based on that. And so, yeah, just be free flowing. And you know, before we start the question, I need. Can you give a short introduction about yourself, your background, and your sports, everything?
Sure. Yeah, so my name is Venkateshwaran Narayanan Chandrasekarapuram. That's my full name. I go by Venkat. I was born in Palakkad, Kerala, but I was completely brought up in Hyderabad. So all my schooling was in Hyderabad. I did my 10th, up to 10th, I was in St. Anthony's High School, Himayatnagar. Then did my college in St. Mary's Junior College, Himayatnagar. Then did my BE in computer science from Usman University main campus. And then after I passed out of engineering in '95, moved to the States. I did my master's in computer science in University of Oklahoma from '95 to '97. Then moved to Chicago in '97 and took up a job with Motorola. I was in the States for about 15 years, and in 2010, due to family reasons, I moved back to India. I'm the only child, so all the more reason to actually come back home. So since 2010, I've been in India. As for my running is concerned, I was never I never thought I was an athlete. Actually, to be honest, when I was in engineering college, we had a few races between basically between departments. So one of my friends nursing, I remember him very well. That day we had this final, I think it was a final year, there was a tournament, and we had this running races, different race, 200 meters, 400, 800, 1500.
Okay.
So he told me, Venkat, why don't you just run? I said, dude, I've never run before. So you're asking me to participate in these events without even, having run before. He said, no, you run. I'll give you. So he had his spikes, this running shoes and everything. So he took out his shoes. He said he was not supposed to run because he was from I think he actually was from a sporting background. So he was not allowed to actually participate in these races. So he said, take my shoes and then just go run. So I participated in 200 meters. I think I was fourth or something. Then 400 I was third. 800 I was first. 1500 I was first in the in those four different races. Then he said, "See, I told you, you're an athlete." I said, "No, dude, I don't know. I don't think I'm an athlete." But that's where it actually started. But I never thought that marathons would be something that I would be doing ever in my life. That actually happened in 1998 when I was in Chicago. A good friend of mine, Girish Chandra, he was a colleague of mine in Motorola, and he was also a good family friend. So one day, he's a big soccer freak as well. So he used to play soccer regularly. So one day he said, Venkat, तू running क्यों नहीं करता है? I said, what? Running what? He said, नहीं marathon भागते हैं. I said, no, there's no way. Marathon is, first of all, I didn't even know what a marathon was. What was the distance? I said, what is the distance? He said, 26.2 miles. I said, dude, I've hardly run a mile. So you're asking me to run 26.2 miles? He said, नहीं नहीं तेरे से होगा. He said, okay, do one thing. And this was, usually the marathons in Chicago is around October,
Okay.
September, October. So, and we were in April, I believe. So he said, do one thing. Let's go to Hal Higdon website. So we went to halhigdon.com, downloaded the novice training plan. He said, here's your training plan from tomorrow. Start, following this training plan. So he was with me for like a week or two. So we started. I said, okay, let's give it a shot. And so believe me, I have not run even a mile before that. I mean, in the sense like a race or anything like that. So we started, and after a week he said, "Acha, theek hai, you're on your own now. You know what to do. Just follow the training plan. Time of the race, I'll be running with you. The day of the race." I said, "Okay." I trained. I just followed that strictly. I believe it was an 18-week novice training program. So I just followed it to the T. I mean, I didn't skip even a single, training run or anything of that sort. And then the day of the race, he came along with me. Both of us started. So he said only one thing. He said, just enjoy the race. Don't look at the time. Don't look at the watch. Listen to your body. Just enjoy the race. Drink water regularly. And that's pretty much it. And since it was the first time, there's nothing, right? There's no expectation as such. So both of us ran together. We were together. And we were maintaining about, like, I believe, a 10.5 minute mile a pace. Okay, sorry, all my, the numbers I'm going to say is all going to be in miles because my system is still not tuned to kilometers. so so it was about 20 miles. We were at 20 miles, so we were together, and then he said, "Okay, Venkat, you're on your own now. I think you can finish this. I'm cramping up, so I'm going to take it easy." I said, "No, no, no, I'll wait for you." He said, "No, no, don't even wait for me. I'll finish the race. But you go ahead because you seem fine so far." So, and the proverbial hitting the wall thing is done. So you just keep going. So I just finished the race, and I think I clocked 4 hours 57 minutes or something. That was my first marathon in 1999. That was my first marathon, and to this day, I think I've enjoyed that race more than any other race I've actually done. Because every race after that is always been an expectation, either time or something or the other. So, but that was probably the best race of my life. So that's how my whole running career started. And then I've run every single Chicago marathon from 1998 to 2009. That's when I moved back. And then there was probably a couple of years, Motorola had its own marathon in Austin, Texas. So I just went there and ran that. And after moving back to India, I was a bit skeptical about running full marathons. So I started off with a half, Airtel Hyderabad half marathon, I believe in 2011 or 12. But then after about 2 years, I felt comfortable, with the heat, the environment, the facilities that was being provided, and then I switched over to the full marathon. So 2018, after running the Mumbai marathon, Murli Tanniru is a good friend of mine. He used to work for me when we were in Motorola, and then he used to. So he was the one who told me. I saw his time, and I'm like, you just started running, and like your time is amazing. I mean, you've done a great job. I mean, he said, "Yeah, I'm coaching under Sunil." I said, "Okay, I've heard about Sunil actually. I've seen you many times. Organizing races and all that stuff." Said, "Okay, let me reach out to this person, Sunil Menon." So I started looking in the website. I reached out to Menon Fitness and I sent you an email. And I remember what I said in the email. I said, like, I've been training a lot. My goal is to actually do the Boston Marathon one day. And then you came back and said you'll definitely reach that goal. So let's work together. So I've been working with Sunil for almost 2 years now. February 2018 is when we started, and more than the timing, I think I've learned a lot in terms of the running, the physical fitness, because earlier and all, running was just like I used to just get up and then maybe do a little bit of stretches here and then start running. But after joining Menon Fitness, I've learned that strength training is important. Yoga plays a role. There are a lot of things, physical conditioning and also mental conditioning. I think those are some of the key things that I've learned, and some of the keywords. Even though I've been running for a while. A lot of the keywords that we typically use. I mean, I've heard of cadence and all those things, but how that actually matters and how that plays into your running, form and all those things. Those are all big takeaways after joining Menon Fitness. So, what my cadence used to be like 160 to 170 earlier. Now, after joining MFS, I've never dropped below 170. That's a
That's good.
credit to all the training plans and everything that actually you put up. So I
Good.
think That's pretty much my background.
That's
Again,
a very long introduction. I was waiting to ask you questions. I said, okay, it'll come end to an end now. But
uh,
good. Thanks for that introduction. So I just have a very stupid question I want to ask you.
sure.
Just in our conversation till now, how many times have you used the word dude?
Lot of times, four, I think.
Do you know the exact count?
Probably three or four.
Yeah, I was actually counting. How many times? I think dude is your favorite word, huh?
Yeah, well, maybe I think that's just a slang.
Okay. So you said you were born in Palakkad, right?
Yeah.
Have you run the Palakkad Marathon?
Yes. So here's what happened. So Palakkad Marathon started 2 or 3 years back, and every year it has been conflicting with TMM,
Okay.
the Mumbai Marathon. So I haven't been able to run. This year it happened to be on a different day. But unfortunately, because I sustained an injury after TMM, I couldn't run Palakkad. But I had registered for Palakkad actually this year. So but I couldn't run. I mean, yeah, there were a couple of other races also I had to skip this year.
Okay. Okay. So one thing that uh, I got to know the other side of Venkat was you are great into mobile development, you know, and that was another. This is it because you were working in Motorola, or is it just happened by choice or by interest? How did this mobile development phase happen to you?
Actually, I no, it's not through work. It was just a passion, and that passion was I used to hate Apple products actually before moving
Okay.
to India. I never used to like any of the Apple products. But something happened in I believe 2009 or 2010 before moving to India. I was like, I want to try out all these Apple, gadgets. What is in it? So I got an iPhone, I got an iPod, I got an iPad. So before moving to India, I got all these gadgets along with me and got it here. And then that's when I started digging around and seeing, there's a lot of these apps that they have, for these iOS platform. So then I started reading up on it and then figured that okay, you need to have a MacBook to develop these any of these apps. So I got a MacBook. So after I got a MacBook, I was just trying to see okay, what is in it? I mean, why is it so? Is it complicated or how easy or difficult it is to actually develop these apps? So that's how my interest actually started. It was just out of hobby, and then eventually it transformed into I started looking at it from a how can I do it, develop apps for my son, because somehow I wanted to keep him engaged, right? I mean, and the kids these days are in iPad or on iPads and iPhones a lot, so I thought how do I make it more productive? So I started developing some of these gaming apps, like a map. How do you find like different countries in the map, countries in the their capitals and stuff like that. So that's how it started, and I started picking up that whole passion, and doing mobile app development became like now a part of my sort of a hobby. Whenever I get some free time, I just keep sifting through it. So that's how it actually started.
So you have developed an app for your own society, right? What
Yeah,
is the name of the app?
it's called My Colony Pal.
Okay.
My Colony Pal. So what happened was when I was part of the executive committee, I was like looking at a lot of the maintenance collection, a lot of the collection that we do, it's actually through paper. So there used to be a supervisor who used to go around in a piece of paper, note down what is the due and all that stuff. And then everything was maintained in Excel spreadsheets, and it was a lot of manual work. So that's when I was part of the committee, there are a lot of IT related stuff that I introduced. The first thing we did was we got hold of everyone's contact details, and created a database, put all of that information in the database, there's birthdays and all that stuff. And then after a year, I developed this app where the app can actually be used to do the maintenance collection, register for events, book the clubhouse. So a lot of the things that typically a society probably need, just the basic stuff, but at makes it a lot more easier for the treasurer to actually manage rather than have someone do it manually
So
on a
we
daily.
also have this MyGate app here, and There are a couple of, so you never thought of going commercial with your app?
Yeah, that's one thing that people always keep telling me, you should promote, or you should look at this from a business standpoint. But that's never been in my blood. I don't, and I keep thinking why I should be, or why not. But that never actually surfaced. Never became a plan for me. So make it into something viable product. But definitely something that it's worthwhile actually investing in. Probably too late now because there's so many products out there. So
Believe me, it's never too late.
yeah, looking at you, yes.
If I was thinking the same way, then I wouldn't have started Menon Fitness Systems, because see, it's not about what is there in the market. Always remember this. It's what you can give to the market. That's more important. Because, and if you're going to give something unique, something better, something which is you know can be useful, I think you should reach out to wider people. I feel. See, this other reason why I feel your talent or whatever you have, your passion of doing this should go to the next level is, always remember one thing, that we are here to serve others, right? And your knowledge, your expertise, your things that you have, if it is just distributed amongst a few, it's a limited scope, right?
Yeah,
So I think you need to expand. That's what I would suggest. It may not be for commercial purposes. Also, maybe you could give that app for free, or I don't know what, but or just a token amount or whatever. But I think reaching out to a lot of people. Maybe there might be societies who might not be able to afford these my gate or other things. I think
right.
those people might find your app to be useful.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you're right. I don't want to look at it from a commercial standpoint, but definitely, as you said, a wider reach, help people out. If it is going to serve few more communities, I'm all for it. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. No, I think because I personally have benefited a lot from your expertise.
Sure.
It's I've been looking out for a person who's going to develop my website, and it's just by chance through our conversations that I got to know about your passion, and I have taken advantage of that to make sure that my website now, if you go to Menon.fitness, it's all developed by you, right? Ground up, so everything, which means a lot to me also. And when you do these things, you're also serving a community in a larger perspective.
Yeah, definitely.
and and I think that's a good initiative. The more you reach out to people, I think the more people will appreciate you. And it's not necessary for recognition also. Many things we do not do for recognition or for money. It's just so that others get benefited. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. It is just another way of serving the community.
Exactly.
That's about it. That's about it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and so coming back to, how many marathons have you done till now?
Okay. Full marathons 20, half marathons 30, and three Olympic duathlons. That is like run, cycle, and run, because I don't know swimming. And then I attempted an Ultra 50, Hyderabad Ultra 50, but I couldn't do it that day. I could only do 25. Um, so that's pretty much it. And out of these 20 full marathons, there was a DNF in 2002, um, because the race got stopped in the middle due to like extreme heat, and I hadn't reached the point where they could, they actually announced the cutoff. So I had to stop the race. But yeah,
Oh, okay. So what is your PB, personal best?
personal best was last year, AHM full marathon 424. Um,
Wow.
424, that, yeah, so that the credit goes to Menon Fitness and the run walk run, which you kept drilling in my head even though I wouldn't listen.
Yeah, I think run walk run is a very important technique. So what was the cadence in that?
Because of
Only
run
the run
walk,
part.
yeah, run part, the cadence was above 180.
Okay.
yeah, but when it, I think I averaged around 160 to 165 because of the walk in between. But
Mhm.
definitely the running part, yeah, the cadence was close to 178, 182, somewhere there.
Wow. And you've done more than around 50 marathons and half marathons put together. What has been your fueling strategy? What have you been eating, drinking? Now, I think this should be finally set for you, right? Or you're still working on it?
No, see, after joining Menon Fitness, I know exactly what I need to do from a fueling standpoint. So, I go by earlier and all, in all the races, I always felt you have to drink water when you're thirsty. And that was a completely wrong notion that I followed. So, I mean, and for half marathons, I used to think, why do I even need to drink, water? I mean, it's just 2 hours, I'll be done. So, but after joining Menon Fitness, uh, the the hydration is a key part. So, and nutrition is a key part. So, um, I have a set routine, that I follow, and I try to follow that even during the training runs. So, have something 1 hour prior to the run. Drink water regularly. So when I'm doing all the track workouts, so because last year, whether it was good or bad, I don't know. A lot of the workouts was on the tracks. So after every 400 meters, or after every four loops, actually, so that 1600 meters, I used to, or was it 200-meter track? I don't know. I'm forgetting.
No, it's a
The
400-meter track.
It's a 400.
Yeah.
Yeah, so after every four loops, so after every 1600 meters, I used to grab a sip of water. And if it was more than a 2 hour run, then around like 1.5 hours, have the I'm into UKPT now, so all the gels and everything, the date gels. So the hydration part is pretty much set, in these races. The only Okay, I'll wait for your question.
No, 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 no. Go ahead.
The only thing I need to focus on is stay injury free. That's the only thing.
Yeah, yeah. That's the key part of it, right? I
Yeah,
think we've come a long way. If you have to see the amount of injuries that you used to face comparatively, right now, I think it's more of cramping rather than anything else, right?
yeah. I mean, I used to have when I started with you, I used to have the problem with my left knee. So that, with all the strength training and a lot of, yoga, Surya Namaskara, and all that stuff, I think it has helped significantly. So the knee is never a problem. And that's what, like, I know you and Murli were like surprised when you didn't see me finish yet the Mumbai Marathon. You were like thinking, I mean, knee is not an issue anymore. What's the problem now?
Yeah.
So I think we have come a long way in terms of injuries. Injuries, definitely. I mean, the knee is not a problem, but yeah, now the cramps keep showing up. But I think we know why. So hopefully, if we work on it, we'll be able to get through it.
Okay, so Mumbai Marathon, you had cramps. Do you know the person who helped you? Name
I
of the
don't
person?
I don't know the name of the person, but he said he's a Patel for sure, because he said something like some Patel, Hemant Patel, maybe, I don't know, but some Patel. But he was a doctor. That's what he said. So yeah, he was a godsend that day.
Good. So, what was your timing for Mumbai?
This time it was 4:57, which is probably it was better than last year. Last year it was about 5:07. It was definitely better than last year, but nowhere close to what I wanted this year, because I had worked on it very hard, and I had followed pretty much all the, if you look at Training Peaks, the routines and everything, I had followed it to the T. But I think there were a few mistakes probably in hindsight that could have been avoided, which could have been
I
better.
think the Chennai Marathon was really dehydrated you.
Yeah, the Chennai, I think, ended up being a disaster. Although, the whole intent of Chennai was to give that, the mental satisfaction of having finished a 20 miler, like, in on race day. I think it probably backfired because it flayed up the calf more than it needs to. And the new thing that we learned was doing this during these track workouts. Make sure you do it on both directions, because that's a new learning. So from now on, and I've done a few track workouts after the injury. Once I recovered, so I make it a point psychologically to make sure that after every loop do the opposite loop as well. But yeah, you learn stuff.
Okay. So let me ask you a question. Now you went. You were working in US from 2000, from 95,
I was
96.
in I was in US from 1995. Yes,
Okay. So who was the president at that time?
1995 it was Bill Clinton.
Okay. Okay. And do you remember all the presidents till you were there?
Yeah, it was Bill Clinton, then George W. Bush, the junior George W. Bush, then Barack Obama, and now obviously, yeah, I wasn't there. I didn't vote at that time, so I
So
voted from here. But
okay. So what are the pros and cons of? I think every country has its own pros and cons. I wouldn't say that India is good or India is bad or US is good, US is bad. So what according to you, because you've stayed in these two places for nearly equal amounts of time, I would say. So what do you find good in US and good in India?
uh, tough question. So, okay, US has actually taught me a lot. To be honest, when I never stayed away from home. The first time I stayed away from home was when I moved to US in '95, and it has taught me to be independent. Um, Taught me what life was. I mean, because that's the first time I'm actually going out, and staying alone. I used to cook even here. I love cooking, so I learned cooking when I was in India, but all the experimentation was done in the US because now you're on your own. So, um, and then what I found is the the appreciation for the work that you put in. The hard work is always appreciated.
Okay.
That's one big advantage I saw when I was in US. And the work culture. I've learned a lot. What regarding the work culture, the time sense. The time management, the time sense that people have. At work, people used to show up at eight. There was hardly anyone who used to show up beyond 8:30 and 9. And sorry to say this, but most of them would be Indians, who used to show up after that. But so those are all the things that that discipline, um, you know I've learned a lot, in terms of the discipline and maintaining the queue, the system, all of that stuff. Those are all a big positives, in US. And to be honest, I didn't want to come back, to be honest with you. But okay, that with respect to India, I mean, there are a lot of things in India in terms of the relationship, in terms of family, friends, and all those things. Those are all big positives. And despite all the harakiri, we still manage to get things done, and that amazes me. Because I see a lot of these videos, of how the traffic sense is in US and in India. There's so many accidents that happen in US despite all the traffic rules, and here you have like this massive crowded place, like at a T junction or a crossroads. Still, people manage to get around. That just is maybe it's a different kind of a discipline. But there are a lot of things I've learned, in India as well, even after moving back, because that's when now you have to adjust your mindset from how you used to live in US to how things are in India. So you develop a lot of patience. You develop a lot of patience. You understand the system. You know how the system works. So need to be, need to learn how to work with the system. And then family and relations. Those are all the big positives I see in India.
Oh, cool. So now, given a choice, suppose you're given a choice now to move back to US or stay back to India, what would you choose?
It depends on the priorities. Okay, so right now my priority is my parents. So given the current situation, I wouldn't go back to US. But if you ask my preference, I would still want to go back to US.
Oh, that's good. That's nice. I mean, see, because every person has their own preferences, right? And I think that's fair enough that you like that lifestyle, which is not more chaotic than
Yeah, it's not.
India,
Yeah, it's okay. To be clear, it's not that I cannot survive here. I've survived here, and
of course.
I think um uh you know I've probably adapted. Okay, my wife actually wanted to move back to India. More than I. But at that time, I said no problem. We'll move back. But I told her you'll be the first person to say that you want to go back to US. That I can guarantee. So I've never said I'll go back to US until now. But even before we moved back, within 6 months, she said, "Can we actually, if you have not packed the bags and sent them, through the ship, can we actually not make this move?" I said, "It's too late." So I can survive in both environments. It's not that I cannot survive. I am adaptable that way. But yeah, given a choice, yeah, I would prefer to be in US.
That's good. So, where in US do you prefer? Chicago?
Yeah, I love Chicago with all the snow and everything. Yeah. I miss the running in running the Chicago Marathon. Uh, you know everything. I mean the people, even though they're not, you don't see people around that much, but still all the friends and everything, the culture. Yeah, I miss that part. But yeah, in life you have to make some choices. So this is a
Yeah, yeah,
choice, right?
definitely. Okay, so you said you are a good cook also, right?
Yeah.
Or at least your son loves your cooking.
I love to cook. Yeah, he enjoys. Yes.
So what is your favorite food? Now, suppose we all plan to come home,
Sure.
okay,
Sure.
and we ask you, Cheta, cook your favorite food for us. What is
Sure.
that you'll plan? What is the menu you'll plan for us?
Okay, your snack is going to be samosa. Then then we'll start with puri and tomato matar aloo. Okay,
Oh,
and then the main course would be, depends if you have a if people prefer North Indian style, then fried rice with some side dish, or if you like South Indian, then it'd be sambar with potato fry with papad, and then dessert would be whatever, I mean payasam or kesari, whatever people prefer. That,
oh, so you know to make samosas, huh?
yeah, samosa, yes, from scratch. Or in US we used to get something called as puff pastry sheets. So these used to be sheets with a, like, pre-filled
Well,
stuff.
yeah,
So you
yeah, yeah.
just need
I
to
think here also you get it. I think in some of those
yeah,
they deep freeze it, and I think you just need to either microwave or fry it. I don't know. It's
yeah,
some way.
you do get them here. I noticed, yeah, the lockdown helped me sift through all these aisles, and I found this puff pastry sheets here as well. Yeah.
Good. So you own the Hyderabad Marathon domain, right? What was your objective when you registered that domain?
Okay. Before I Yeah, so running was a passion, right? When I was in the US. So before moving back, I was like very worried that I won't be able to run in India. So I was like, what do I do? I'm giving up all my running. I don't know what's going to happen. Will I be able to run? Will dogs be chasing me running and all that stuff? So I'm like, okay, let me look around. Are there marathons in India? So that's when at that time I started looking around, and there was hardly one or two I found at that time. I think there was Delhi, and then maybe Mumbai was there. There was nothing in Hyderabad because they hadn't started yet. So I said, huh, interesting. So what do I do? Maybe I register a marathon, maybe have a marathon of my own one day. Yeah. So I registered the Hyderabad marathon site. So I have like Hyderabad marathon.in, com, biz, mobi, every info, everything. Hyderabad marathon is under my name. So I did get asked a few times if I would be willing to give up. I said not at this point because I still have that, maybe dream or goal one day where I would host a marathon of my own. But still, a distant.
I think you already started, right? You already have having society in your society. You're having those runs, right? 5K, 10K runs.
Yeah, yeah. So in our society, yes. So every year in November we have some. Our society's name is Silpa Brindavan. So I coined the term Silpathon. So every November we have the Silpathon, which is like a 5K run. So yeah, that's we have registrations on all stuff, T-shirts and everything. So
That's good. That's good. So, what is your next goal? I know we, of course, after the lockdown, we don't know when the next marathon is going to come because everything is you know unpredictable right now. So, I think what is your next goal?
Sunil, I need to crack Boston. That's my ultimate goal. I know we are not even close to that given my time. So for the time being, given that I could do 424 in Hyderabad last year, full marathon, I think the immediate goal would be to do under 4. I think that would be the first immediate goal, because I know going from 424 to 310 or whatever in Boston is a pipe dream, and you would kill me if I say that. So that's not, I'm being realistic. So I think the realistic goal would be to go below 4. But more than that, I don't want to be injured prior to the race,
Yeah.
and want to be able to. I want to be able to go and run the race without having this whole inhibition that I'm going to be injured halfway or something is going to show up, at 20 mile or something like that. So the goal right now is stay injury free, do all the strength training and everything, and come race day, I want to be at the start line with the positive mind that okay, I have nothing going with right now, and hopefully nothing will hit me in the middle of the race.
So, how has lockdown impacted your current schedule, or is it still the same?
Yeah. So what happened was I was in recovery before the lockdown. So the last so after Mumbai Marathon, that was on Jan 19th, I haven't run for almost 6 weeks because I was recovering from the injury that I sustained. And the first race I did was the Hyderabad club run in February. So uh, after that, I was planning to get back into running, and I was like following the our schedule. But then this lockdown hit. Exactly when I was like trying to get back to my long runs and all. But actually, lockdown has not slowed me down because luckily for me, in the colony I have like a place where I can run. So initially I was a bit skeptical about going out and running, but then I realized that since I'm an I wake up pretty early in the morning by 4:30, so I go out like very early in the morning before any human shows up. So I get in my at least like a hour and a half run, and all the strength training and the virtual lessons that you have, they are like a blessing because that keeps the motivation going. Because a lot of times what happens is, if you have to follow something from Training Peaks, yeah, we do, but it won't be the same sort of mindset, and probably not as strenuous as what we do if we were to follow do it, and teach us how to do it. So I've learned that just the strength training, yeah, I've done strength training following the Training Peaks routine before, but probably at 50% of the effort than what I do now, because I really see the benefit of doing it live with you. It's so that's been a big positive.
Yeah, I think the lockdown I also feel is a blessing in disguise for a lot of us because you know I wanted to make sure that I continue with the sessions, and then I started with Microsoft Teams and other stuff, and then but people started saying that they are missing these sessions because they are waking up late, their night calls and everything. So I wanted to make sure that everybody is accommodated in this this thing, and that's how I started YouTube Live, and I think it has addressed most of the you know cases. I think I tested with you YouTube Live first, you and Sham,
Yeah.
because I didn't know how the quality will be, whether it's going to be good, bad. but I said, okay, just let me test it with you and Sham first to see whether I can really go with it. And luckily, it was good, and I'm glad that I could take that decision. Because I could see a lot of athletes who are training with MFS improve a lot in spite of the lockdown. You know.
Yeah, at least I can speak for myself personally. Yes, it's been great actually, because earlier and all, Surya Namaskara and all, I used to, about 10 or 15 I used to struggle. Now I'm able to do even 30, 40, 50, and without any pains or anything like that. So I think it's been great.
Good, good, good. So your son, you have only one son, right?
Yeah, I have only one child. Yes,
So
one son.
what is his plans, future plans?
uh Future plans, yeah, so he just finished his 10th, and he started his intermediate in Fiji. What he actually wants to become is a soccer player.
Oh,
So
okay.
he's big time into soccer. So I told him I don't know how we can make that happen. Given that we are in India, and I don't know what kind of clubs and all that stuff. So I said, at least get through your intermediate. Let's see. We'll figure out what options we have. Because the only place I can think of for him would be Europe. Somewhere in Europe, we'll have to go and start doing things. But yeah, aside from that, yeah, he wants to become a computer engineer. So that's what he's moving towards. But yeah, he has his passion, his eyes set on soccer.
Has he developed any mobile app?
Not yet, not yet.
Okay, so I think you can mentor him, right? I think you will be able to guide him from the best part. Mentor is you there, who
Yeah,
can
yeah,
help
yeah,
you guide
yeah,
him for making
yeah,
the. So
yeah.
what is
Slowly
he
start.
doing right now?
Right now, they have started their classes actually. So they have his
Oh,
online
online.
classes. Online classes have started. I'm slowly getting him into running. So so let's see if he can, if I can get him motivated enough to do the runs and all with me.
So now currently, what is your favorite shoe?
My favorite shoe right now is this Nike. What is that? Fly? What is that? Fly? Some fly, right?
Zoomfly.
Is it fly? Zoom fly? No.
Yeah, yeah. Zoom 5+%.
Yeah, I have this fly. Is it Nike Zoom fly?
Pegasus.
Yes, but it is. Yeah, it is Nike. That's the one which is helping out. Prior to that, I was using the Hoka 11. Um, uh, I've tried like different brands. When I was
Yeah.
in US, I used to stick to only one. New Balance was the only shoe I used throughout. Every 2 years, I used to change the shoe. But after coming to India, I've tried pretty much. I've tried the on cloud, the Swiss.
Mm-hmm.
That
Cloud
one.
Runner. Yeah, that's a good one.
That that one. I've tried. Hoka. Now I'm on Nike. I've tried Asics. So it depends. At this point, it seems like Nike is working out okay.
Cool, good. So, any closing comments you have?
Closing comments. I think yeah. Uh, Working with you has been the biggest positive. In terms of my running career and advancing it and staying injury free. So thanks a lot for everything you do for me personally and for MFS as a whole, and also the community, the running community, as we start expanding. As you start expanding, your virtual sessions with the challenges and everything online. So uh, I'm I'm a motivated person, but you drive my motivation even higher, with with the discipline that you have, and all the schedule, putting together the schedule, trying to follow the schedule and everything. So thanks a lot for everything that you do for me and for the team. So,
In
and
fact,
good luck.
I should be the one who should be thanking you because I think meeting you as well as taking your help has been one of the biggest advantages for me. There are a lot of people now who are visiting the website and they are contacting me for help. I think that's good. Also, I always if I get a chance, I always like to bounce my ideas to you. I think you know that. So
Yeah.
you are my person, go to person if I have to bounce off any ideas. I think even the mind body habits challenge. I think I first bounce it off to you to first get your feedback and to see how it is going to be. So for me, you know, I don't look at you as a trainee. More, I look at you as a friend, as a advisor, as a well wisher, because I know that I might get the right advice. I know for sure whether it is good or bad. You're going to give me the right advice, and I think we've worked a lot. Right from creating the speed profile for swim, bike, run. Remember those formulas?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
In trying to implement. Right now, we are still in the Excel sheet phase. I wish we can go to the website. If the website development was a bit faster, I think your work would have been even more highlighted. But yeah, of course, each thing has its own phase, and we are at a phase where we want to push things, but not much is in our hands.
Right.
But I think we already have a lot of incredible work that is still under the wraps, which is yet to come out, and
Right.
which is quite unique. And I think you are the first person to know about it. Anyways, you know all the formulas, you know exactly how things are.
Yeah, yeah.
Even the projections, we have it ready, but only
Yes.
thing is that we have not been able to push it out to the website, because and I think those are the game changers. Those things, once it goes out to the website, you know, predicting a marathon, predicting what you want. Like for example, you said you want to run Boston. You know, you can easily find out how many years it's going to take to reach Boston,
Yes.
and
Yes.
you will be able to track your progress then and there. So those predictions, I think these are vital things that are yet to people and MFS also do not know about it. There's a lot of work that we've already done thanks to you. Your a lot of help that you've given to make these things happen. I hope that this year at least we are able to release all these stuff. And
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean, there's lot of things that is under the wraps, as you said, and I think one day everyone is going to see all these unleashed on them. But I think we have worked a long way. We have come a long way. We have worked together a lot. So I think it's a good combination, right? That's been going for us. So that's
yeah, the best part is you're a runner, right? So
yeah,
it makes it far more easier to explain you the concepts and get things back. Whereas to explain the whole thing to a non-runner, it takes a lot of effort because the formulas, the whole thing. They're like, why you want to do this? What is the importance of this?
right,
It
right.
makes it very difficult. So many thanks to you for all your help. It's made my life much more easier to tell you frankly. Thank you so much, sir, for your time and the efforts that you're doing. And I think people in MFS should also appreciate the work that you are doing. Specifically the website that you've made, and also the work that is still under that yet need to come up. Great speaking to. I hope to see you soon. Right? Though we stay close by now, the social distancing is there. Otherwise, you would come every month,
I know, I know. Yeah,
for a
yeah.
one-on-one session, and I think I like those one-on-one sessions because we could discuss so many things.
Right, right, right. Yeah.
So anyways, thank you and wish you all the very best, and hope to see you soon.
Thanks, Sunil. Pleasure, pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Bye. Have a
Bye.
nice day.
You too.